Hey, what's up? Good morning.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm ready to roll. Here we go.
This is for the audience doesn't realize this is actually like a legitimate greeting because I screwed up Joe's access. I had a little guest host on Tuesday night, so I had to let somebody else into the cockpit, so to speak. I never added Joe back, and then I'm firing off HR emails to Joe going, hey, could you show up on time? And Joe's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm just not where you want me to be. So my apologies, what I'm saying. That's a mea culpa. That's me.
Adam, could you get your stuff together, please? Okay. This is proper cup of Joe. We're not fooling around anymore. All right.
Story of my life. If I could just get my stuff together, man. And that is,
I think that's the opposite, actually.
No, that's truer than anybody realizes. That's how I feel this week, man. I'm that nailed it right there.
No. So welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Joe, and I don't have rep pals, and this is Adam, and
I do. I breed them. And that's them. And
I've got a lot of questions. I ask those questions, and we talk about things.
We're trying to figure out life, business, good ideas. Helping each other get by.
Yeah. So, how was your week?
It was good. It was hectic. I will say. Let me see. Life doesn't come with an instruction manual for a teenager in middle school, and never have I felt that more than this week. And we're only at 7th grade. We got a few more years to go of this fun, I think. So,
can you share it all, or is that it's too close?
No, it's a little close, but. Everything's okay. It comes down to trying to navigate the social world, and with the world of social media, middle school's always been hard. I have no misunderstandings about that. I went through it. I understand that. There's an added ripple with it feels a little swimming upstream with the effects of social media and interactions that way.
Oh yeah, sure. I remember middle school, and when Aiden was going through middle school, he was he got into like video games and stuff like that, and then he started to get like I guess I can't even remember. It was such a big deal at the time, but then. I don't know. Somebody blocked him, or he got kicked off of some game or something.
Right.
Or somebody reported him, but he didn't really do anything. But they were just angry at him, and I didn't know anything about it. So all those types of things. Yeah, getting online, getting on social media, Snapchat, and all that stuff. Snapchat when it came out was something I think completely intended for something completely different than what it's used for now. All that stuff is it can be a minefield, but it's how people operate, I guess, these days.
Yeah, it is, and I'm a huge believer in, and probably to a fault, that we probably can't change the world that we live in, so we have to learn how to live in that world the very best that we can. Which is maddening sometimes, because you're like you say, maybe these things had great intentions and there's been good things that have come from these things.
Yeah.
But holy cow, like there's a literal database, knowledge base of all of us, what makes us tick, what we're going to click on, what little slice of dopamine that we love the most, and all of those. And like, you just like, even sitting here this morning, I'm like, should I be in this? Like, am I now? I'm like, am I contributing to this? Like, have I been conditioned to give a response, or am I trying to condition people to give a response?
Well, sadly, I think that you are, but I don't think that I think that we are. I think that we use those tools to get people to come in and look at us if we can. I think that's a part of the game these days. And that's, but also I think for I've been considering completely getting complete,
just throwing it in a lake, right? Just be like, right. There you go. Yep.
But I don't know. I think I've relied on it so much to connect with people and to actually to connect with events, like to know what's going on around town and to use it for my business and stuff like that. But I don't know. Sometimes I just think I don't want to be involved in this cesspool of of people just kind of like hurting each other.
Well, that I definitely don't want to be involved in, and I've often espoused the benefits of like, what a time to be alive. Like, you and I can hang out every Thursday morning, broadcast worldwide, and have just reach an immense potential audience or potential community, all of that. And I love that stuff. What I hate is seeing, and it's one of those things we all feel like, oh, I know what's going on, so I'm good, but everybody else is getting screwed here, right? like they're all the ones that get controlled, right? And of course, obviously, that's not true. So my one thing for the week, I watched we had a family viewing session of the Netflix. It's mostly a documentary. It's a little bit of a quasi. There's some writing in it though as well. The Social Dilemma. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's 5 years old, but it's still incredibly relative. But there's a segment in it that really kind of brought things into focus. So, there's all these companies gathering data on what motivates us, what doesn't, what makes us tick, how are we going to engage, how do we come back, and all of that stuff is good because it's not necessarily good. It's good for those companies because it increases predictability, and with predictability, then advertising becomes very effective.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the value. So there's the monetary flow. There was one segment that it just gave a really good real life example. And I don't think we have to go through it right now, but it's good food for thought. If you and I start typing into Google, let's just say climate change, for example, everybody's got different views on it, highly charged topic. If you type in climate change, Google will finish an auto search sentence that you can select.
Yeah.
Yours will be different than mine. It will feed you what it thinks you want to click on and what the highest likelihood of you clicking on will be.
Okay.
And if your dossier in the Google file says you lean one way, clearly, I won't get on that path. You lean one way, and so you're going to be excited to see what this media outlet, this researcher, this end goal says. And I lean another way, so it's going to show me here's what you're more likely to click on. And so suddenly we're getting two different truths, but we're good, smart people, so we're really researching this. And we're really getting this dopamine hit of, I do know what I'm talking about. I am educating on this. And then when you and I talk about this, when it comes up, we're both so confident that we've done such good research and put in such good time and such reliable sources that not only did I disagree with you, but now I think you're an idiot because I've been so smart about what I've done.
Right.
That's
right.
All of society right now. And
it is.
And when I saw it, I was like, and then you start to question like, okay. Anyway, So there you go. There's one, but I say all that not to, I'm sorry, not to scare everybody, but just to add another layer of like seeking to understand another person just because they have a different view and they're very confident and they've researched fully. They've been given a different set of facts than you have.
Should we, do you want to try it now?
No, I don't. I really don't. This week has been, no, I'm good, man. But it is a good
it is, but yeah, that's, I would add to, yeah, a certain level, like that kind of thing adds like a charge for us to be more understanding and empathetic with each other, because we might be we're going to be getting information from different places, different times, and it's going to be catered to what you already think and believe.
Yeah, so, good word, catered, exactly.
So it's like, and it's so you're just feeding what you want to know or want to believe, and it's really problematic. I mean, it's funny. I have a certain way of thinking, and I go on Twitter, and I go on Twitter because I often want to see how other people think. So a lot of times my feed is the opposite of what I actually think and believe. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, and where are these sources? And then I kind of go through that. But it's just, I don't know if there's any real way to go, all right, this is real, this is not. I mean, then you start to kind of look at, okay, how many different sources are saying these? Are they reputable? All that stuff. Yeah. And then you go, you know what? I have a life to live, and I want to like people around me, and I want to be friends.
Go, yeah.
I want to be friends with people.
But I think that's also where, like, I've heard a lot, and I've heard a lot probably because I seek it out and a little algorithm told me. But the value of in-person social interactions, that's how you get out of the echo chamber. Go to the happy hour, go to the social meetup or the open mic or the, whatever the thing is, the athletic league or whatever.
Right.
Get out of that just self-reinforcing echo chamber. And it does happen socially too. I remember thinking my grandfather, like, he would have coffee with the boys all the time. Well, he and the boys thought exactly the same way. They all preached to their same choir, and it was like a little small version of what I'm talking about. So I think it's important to try and not let that happen either.
I mean, I think if one of those guys had a dissenting viewpoint and they brought it to the group, I don't know if because they were friends, I don't know if they'd be ostracized or ridiculed as easily than you can on social media. Social media, you can just go, yeah, you're a jerk.
I'm
going to dismiss you. And that's how it goes. But if you're friends, I think that's the cornerstone of actual conversation. And conversation meaning you're going to change. I'm going to change because there's going to be a change in who I am because I'm interacting with you. That doesn't happen, on social media. Like all of the conversations that you see on social media where somebody's trying to convince somebody else of how to think, that's not a conversation. That's just speaking into the abyss of what you think, and then trying to back yourself up with stuff. I mean, there's no true conversation. Root word, conversio, conversion, change. That's what happens in conversation. You are changed, I am changed because we interact with each other.
Interesting. Yeah.
And the cornerstone of that is friendship. It's friendship. You and I are friends. If we have dissenting views or if we have different views on something, then I'm going to listen to you because you're my friend, not because what you say is right or wrong. I'm going to listen to you because you're my friend. That's why we need to have these conversations That's why we need to have those personal conversations. Definitely.
I like the show format or the conversational format because of everything you just said. It's why I enjoy the Tuesday night show. I can learn, I can build a relationship, I can meet somebody new. I really enjoy it, but yeah, to your point, I don't think anybody in the comments sections of daily social media life is like, tell me more. I want to empathize and understand with your point of view. Meanwhile, they're just spewing hatred,
Yes.
you know, like what?
And sometimes it comes in the guise of that too. Like, tell me more about, I'm honestly want to hear. And that's not really what's going on. I mean, you're not really, that's why I think it's so, like if you hear something on social media that is that's out of left field, right? You just dismiss it. But if one of your friends says something out of left field, you go, wait a second, what are you talking about? Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And people don't create, I know the language is there. People don't have friends. Like, it's just not, I don't think that's friendship. I don't know if that's friendship or not.
Yeah.
I think the mark of a good friendship is that you can disagree with each other and then go back and forth on it and actually stay friends.
Respect and trust.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun.
Respect and trust. Yes.
What's your one thing this week, Joe? What do you
man. Oh man. So, I took a 10-hour trip in the car to Gatlinburg.
That's right. You went up to Tennessee each way, Tennessee. 10 hours, not round trip. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great weekend I had with Aiden, who is my stepson. He's 17. He was in a soccer tournament, scored 2 goals, almost had a hat trick in one of the games.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah, it was a good Sunday.
I remember. Can I interject for a second?
Yeah,
I remember. I don't think this is too personal. There was a time when I think Aiden felt undervalued or bad, for lack of a better word, that he was only playing defense. Look at him now. He's scoring 2 goals a game. Right. He's in there getting striker, right?
Like, yeah. He plays up front now. Yeah. And they put him in to kind of, he's a big guy. So like he puts like a hit on somebody, and then the other team kind of responds by double guarding him or putting 2 or 3 players on it. So then it frees up the other teammates and stuff. So
he's got a rocket for a leg too, man. Yeah. Like fires soccer balls like cannons. Okay, go ahead.
But Gatlinburg is an interesting place, in the middle of on the west side of the Smoky Mountains. Beautiful place.
Gorgeous place.
Gatlinburg itself is kind of strange because it is kind of, hokey and it's touristy and stuff. So,
Dollywood's there. Is that correct? That's Dollywood?
I think Dollywood is Pigeon Forge, which is not too far. It's like 15 to 20 minutes away. And then, but we had a fantastic time. I bought some records.
Oh, cool.
So I was very excited about getting these records. And then, but it's interesting that these various places, right? You go into a city or a town, and there's like the food of the town, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
So you go into you go to Philadelphia, you get a cheesesteak or something, and you go Chicago. There's the Chicago style pizza or the Polish sausage or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever. So you go into Gatlinburg. Any guesses on what the food of the town is?
I mean, I would have said some sort of Carolina style barbecue, maybe a good mustard sauce that goes on it. You would think,
yes.
Okay, what did you find? Was it a corn dog or something? What was it?
You can't turn around without looking at a pancake house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's pancakes everywhere. Pancakes. And so I mean, I like to soak in the town and get the local, flavor of the town, but I mean, it wasn't a big draw for me to make sure that I got some pancakes.
I was going to say,
because,
I'm not a pancake guy, really.
I mean, I don't want to disparage pancakes. They're delicious.
Joe,
They're
tell me more about your root hatred of pancakes. I'd like to understand more.
But I don't understand, like, how good can a pancake actually be?
Right. Not
like,
what
are you gonna do to the pancake that's gonna make me go, oh, this is like, you got to go to Gatlinburg for the pancakes. Everybody's doing pancakes.
To me, how do I put this? Pancakes are less exciting to me because the only way you can make them better is to do things to make it taste like something other than a pancake. Like, if you put a banana split on top of a pancake, that's probably a pretty good pancake. But that's not how it should be. A really good brisket can be amazing as the brisket. I don't want something on top of it. I want the thing to be amazing.
Yeah.
I've never had an amazing pancake. I've had amazing stuff on top of a pancake that the pancake just gets in the way of.
Yeah.
But not an amazing pancake.
Yes. Yeah. So I said to Aiden, like, if you score a goal, well, I'll make sure we get some pancakes before we leave tomorrow morning. And then he goes and he scores goals. And I'm like, crap, I got to go.
This kid could eat like 14 pancakes, right? How many did he have?
You should have seen. You should see the food budget from this weekend. It was we blew it out of the water. It was ridiculous what this kid can eat. And then alongside of me, it's bad. It gets bad.
All right. So did Gatlinburg convert anybody? Are there now pancake evangelists in the Arner Watts household now?
Sadly, no. There's no.
Didn't happen, huh?
Yeah. And actually, the pancake house that we did go to, we got pancakes, and you'd think that they'd, I don't know, maybe cook something into the pancake, but it was just all toppings, right? So it was I got just a regular pancake because I want to, like, you go to a brewery, you go, oh, let me get the lager and see what the lager's like. The standard
the
beer.
Baseline. You got to have the baseline. Yeah,
I wanted to have the naked pancake just to see what the pancake was like, and it was like a pancake. It wasn't. It wasn't special.
I think I might even next time be like, hey, listen, what's the best, like, craziest pancake on the menu? And then be like, I want that, but take the pancake itself out. Just give me all the other stuff. Right. It's just getting in the way. It's just getting mushy. You get to a point, you lift it, and it just crumbles because it's got all the stuff soaked into it. I'm going to go back to, like, briskets or ribs. Like, those are good on their own. And anything you add to it just makes it more interesting, but its root quality and caliber of amazing is still there.
So this was the coolest thing. This was the coolest part of the pancake experience in Gatlinburg. The place where we stayed had like a breakfast, like a buffet breakfast.
Yeah.
And they had a machine where you just needed to press a button and 2 pancakes would fall out onto your plate. That was my favorite. I was like, what is this, Star Trek?
They're really leaning into the pancake thing. So, like, the Hampton Inn or whatever has their little pancake factory.
Right. Yeah. It was the Brookside Inn in Gatlinburg. It was a good place. And you just press a button, and it was like you were Dr. Spock all of a sudden. Is it Dr. Spock? I don't know.
I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah. Joe, let me ask you this.
Dr. Spock was the child psychologist from the 1960s and 70s. It's just Spock.
I think he was a doctor, wasn't he? No, I don't know.
He was a doctor. He was. He earned a PhD from or medical degree from.
Vulcan,
Anyway.
wherever. Yeah. Did Aiden only have one game? Did you travel all that way for one game, or was it a tournament?
Oh no, it was a tournament.
Okay, very good. All right, I was like, man, that's you better be some cash prizes if you drive that far for one game, right?
And it was cold. It was cold. I mean, 26 degrees, sitting out and watching soccer is not it's not pleasant unless your kid scores a couple goals.
Yeah,
so he pulled through.
Yeah, see, Jeremy and Holly get this. Pulled pork. You can have all the barbecue sauce you want on it, but at the end of the day, the smoked pork has to be great on its own to begin with. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. All right.
I want to be clear, Snakes, for the memories. I'm not slandering pancakes. Pancakes are wonderful. I'm just saying that you make it the center of your culinary experience of the town is a little strange if it's not special stuff.
They should have picked something a little stronger. I agree.
No, all right. Enough of that. Now I did notice there's something new up in the top left corner.
That is SunDogSerpents. We got a new advertising partner. I think it's important to use those words because we always hear the word sponsor. This is not a charity handout. It's a business exchange that goes on, and the value proposition is that people trust and respect the brand of Proper Cup of Joe, and that they would like to be aligned with us, and we in turn make time to discuss their value that they bring. And I could tell you, here's what I love about the people that I work with. I promise you that I know them. I promise you that I've done business with them, and I stand by the kind of people that they are. And Sarah and Josh at SunDogSerpents are exactly that. And that to me is a different value proposition than write me a check, I slap your logo up top. Both could be true and both could be part of the equation. But I really value that, and that's something that I've always wanted to add to, whether it was the Tuesday night Proper Royals Live, the banners down below. I want to be able to go to people if they say, I bought from these people. I want to go, man, I bet it was amazing, wasn't it? Versus like, how was it? Who are these people? What do they do? So most people don't know, and I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I do turn down advertisers because I don't know them. And doesn't mean I won't get to know you or want to learn who you are if you do want to advertise, but there's a little more to it than just boom, step up, drop a little coin. I suppose there's a price you could drop enough coin. I'd be like, well, let's just wing it and see. Maybe they're pretty good, but that's I'm not playing in that sandbox yet. So, all seriousness, that's Sarah and Josh. They're from Orlando. Joe, you have I know you've met them before. At
yeah, definitely.
But the other cool thing is now when you fulfill your commitment to go to 2 reptile shows a year, you could have like a home base. You could have like, come meet Joe at SunDogSerpents booth in the on the circuit that you would travel in there in Florida. They're from Orlando. Sarah actually used to come vend with me in like the Orlando, Kissimmee, Tampa shows, and so we've worked together for it's got to be 3-4 years now. And they've been great supporters, but also fun to work with. And they've helped me immensely. It's a long story, but there's been several occasions where they know somebody and it's been a huge help to me, or I've been able to help them. And anyway, I'm very happy to have them as our new breeder sponsor right up there in the top. It's my right, your left, top corner. How about that?
Yes, very nice, and great people. I mean, both of them. They were just, and I was new to coming to a show. They were so friendly and nice and welcoming, and they're just great folks. So definitely, if you haven't checked them out, please check out SunDogSerpents.
And you might ask, why would I choose them and not somebody else? Well, if you're into TSK line of Axanthic, not my thing, but I just don't have any. Nothing wrong with it. They do have a whole lot of it, and they will espouse all of the beauties and the wonderful details of the TSK line of Axanthic. So you could start there. They have all kinds of projects and probably even a more vast array of options than I have. But for now, we'll leave it at some ingredients, TSK's line of Axanthic on Morph Market right now. So go check out SunDogSerpents. Their information is down below. You could support them, follow them on a variety of platforms. Thank you, Josh and Sarah. I appreciate you. I got a little teaser, new merch coming up, Joe. Would you believe that?
Okay, what's that? What do we got going here?
I'm trying to do a tease because I don't know if I can roll it out, and B, I haven't uploaded it to be able to roll it out. So we just got to like tease it like it's really a big thing. But it's going to be up your alley. It's a hat. It's a co-branded new line of hat from Husbandry.pro. And when I say it's a new line, it's not just new and then it's a proper Royals line. It's a whole new offering that they're going to have. And I'm working on how and where I can roll it out. I'm trying to push the envelope to see if it's possible to have some at Tinley. But you got to stay tuned. I'll make sure you get one, Joe.
That sounds great.
Tinley is less than 2 weeks away, so it's a mighty big push to try and get some of those ordered and produced in time, but we'll see if it'll happen or not. I just had it unexpectedly floated down my river last night. And I was like, holy cow, that's hip. That's real cool.
When is Tinley?
Tinley is not this coming. Well, Tinley is, I leave a week from tomorrow for Tinley actually. So 8 days, actually, I hadn't said that out loud. That's really soon actually. I got work to do to get done between now and then.
I didn't mean to make you nervous here.
Kind of brought it into focus. Like, oh, whoopsie daisy. Yeah, that'll be right there. So
it's 3/14.
Correct.
March 14th. Great.
Yeah, 14th, 15th, 16th, Tinley Park, Illinois, just outside southern suburbs of Chicago. I will be there, and anybody that hasn't seen me at Tinley, go all the way back and all the way left as far as you could go, and you will run into the Proper Royals booth. Also in the neighborhood is Cold Blooded Cafe. Flawless is like 2 tables down from me. Josh Jackie's right over there. The Bods are down the aisle from me, maybe 5-8 booths up. So pretty cool little hood we got going back there.
And that's just a few weeks before Epic, right?
Yeah, April 4th, man, on Epic. You wanna watch it real fast?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's called Epic, the Exotic Pet Industry Conference, and it's free to register at epic.live. Epic is over 20 special guests across 16 sessions covering industry trends, marketing, branding, podcasting, and YouTube. Epic is for pet keepers and breeders. It's for gecko and invert lovers. It's for snake and spider lovers. Epic is for anyone who enjoys these amazing animals. Did I mention it's free? Register now at epic.live.
All right. Yes.
We will have, we'll probably at Tinley have some announcements on the keynote speakers and the last of the speaker slots to fill on that. So stay tuned, register for that if you haven't done it. And that's, it's just project after project and cool stuff after cool stuff, man. I'm really thankful for a lot of these opportunities. Joe, so this topic this week, some of this stemmed from some of the challenges I've experienced this week that I alluded to earlier. And I got thinking about it. And this topic is trust and respect. I think it's something that all of us, we probably talk about all the time. Like we all acknowledge this is incredibly valuable. And I think myself included, I generally am like, well, we know it when we see it. We know it's important. Like we don't ever define it. We appreciate it when we see it and experience it, but I don't think that we ever focus on like, can you really like quantify this? Can you teach this, but also can you embrace this and make sure, like, I don't think we actually focus on it enough, particularly from brands and a business standpoint. And I really kind of went down a rabbit hole this week on this. And I think I'll do like just a really business deep dive on it on the Patreon content one of these days, maybe a presentation on there. But in short, I'm convinced it can be trained and it can be learned, and that these two pieces, these two components, trust and respect, I'll give a definition in a minute, but they're actually like the cornerstone of any good business. And there could be a sliding scale. Trust could be high, trust could be low, respect could be high, respect can be low. The best outcomes are when they're both very high, but there are stages in the middle along the way as well. And it's not static. It's not something where you achieve them high and then it just stays that way forever because you're that amazing. If it stays that way forever, it's from a conscious effort of what happens and where it goes. I know you have a really strong HR background. Is this something you've studied or tried to create or cultivate or worked at or have experience and strategies with?
Yeah, but mostly in how to have a difficult conversation.
Okay.
So more. I think about it more in terms of building relationships and making sure that your relationships within the organization is built on mutual trust and respect. But so that's why my first question is, how are you defining this topic? Is this mutual trust and respect within the organization, within the company, or is this building trust with your clients who come to buy your product or services?
I think it should be both, but a lot of our companies in this arena are 1 or 2 person shows. So do I trust and respect myself? Well, I hope so. If I don't, then I'm probably not, that's probably something to work out too. So it's probably more between a company or a brand and the customers is really kind of the way that I'm thinking about it. However, it could be personal relationships too, and relationships between brands. So, Perry's in the audience, Soda Balls. He and I work together here at the shop, but he has his own brand. He's vending. If we're vending across the aisle from each other and there's trust and respect that we can send customers each other's way, that becomes mutually beneficial. Or it could be the opposite. We don't trust or respect each other and we're kneecapping each other across from the aisle from each other, which is not what happens. But that would be an example of kind of a relationship between 2 brands or the people from 2 brands. So, all right. And I regret that we're only down to 20 minutes, but here we could get some really good content here in 20 minutes. Trust. Trust is the confidence in someone's reliability, integrity, and ability to follow through on commitments. So trust is about, will basically somebody do what they say they'll do? Are they going to make good decisions? Yeah. Respect in this vacuum is a recognition of someone's value, expertise, or position, regardless of personal feelings. Are you an expert? Are you experienced? Are you knowledgeable on what you're talking about? You could be knowledgeable and somebody that is completely unreliable. High respect, low trust.
Okay, yeah.
You could be somebody that shows up every day and has 0 skills and knows nothing of what's going on. High trust, not as much respect yet, but I'll take that. That I'll take. So in that way, I guess I value trust more than respect, because you can learn the expertise. You can learn the thing. I think trust is harder to learn. Okay. So those are kind of my starting definitions. And then I like to think of it as like, then you can make like a matrix. Like if trust is the X axis and respect is the Y axis, you have low trust, low respect. I forget which was X and Y. High trust, low respect, high respect, low trust, and high, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So with all of that being said, Yeah. So the key difference, trust is about reliability, predictability. Respect is about value and worth.
Mm-hmm.
If we think about, and again, from a pragmatic brand building standpoint, if we think about those two things and everything that we do and every decision that we make, I think good things come along in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
When those two things happen, you can have different points of view, but you trust and respect the other person. So that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get less follow-ups and pestering questions if you're trusted to do what you say that you'll do, because people just go, okay, it's going to be done. I don't have to follow up and bug Adam or bug
Right.
whoever.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
If it's still hard programmed into my mind, our culture at most of the places I worked was we never called employees. So if an associate is always on time, I don't wonder when I'm making the floor lineup and the floor sheet of the team that evening if they're going to be there versus
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
who is perpetually late or perpetually not there. Then I go, are they going to show up today? Are they, do they care? Can I rely on them today? All of those things that don't really translate to a spreadsheet of profitability and loss, but they do. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
even more so than the formulas of a spreadsheet.
Right. Yeah. 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 So a few things come to mind.
Sure.
Number one is I like what you said about, okay, so trust is something that you can work on. Trust is something that you can do. You can make sure that you follow up, and that's what I think that's how you build trust. Is you say you're going to do something and you do it, and there's integrity that is involved in the things that you say. Then people go, okay, there's integrity there. I'm going to work with this person. But I also think that there are a good component of that is to set clear expectations, though.
Right.
You might have somebody who's you might say, well, let me look into that for you, or whatever question that they have or whatever. Let me look into that and then I'll get back to you. And they're expecting, for you to get back to them in 3 hours, and you're thinking, a couple of days. So I think making sure that those expectations are set is really important for building that trust too. So then there's an agreement on when the follow-up is supposed to happen. I think that happens all the time in my classes because everything is so immediate for people who are younger than me, and I have other responsibilities too as an adjunct.
Right.
There's another job. I like to sleep. But also, there's
sometimes you like to have a beer.
That's right. But if there's a question that comes through sometimes with the student, and they're like, "Hey, you didn't get back to me." Setting the expectation for the student to go, you got to give me 24 to 48 hours for me to respond. So then you have to plan out what you're going to do, and what problems you might have and what questions you might have. You have to give me that grace there, and I will. But once I set that expectation, or any expectation, whether it's student or otherwise, I better make that time. I better make that time. That
Right.
becomes a priority then, to make sure that you're meeting that deadline, the expectation that you set. So I think that's number one. So setting expectations is super important, I think, to building trust. And then secondly, for respect, and this is something that I've dealt with a lot, is that people tend to put their own personal and professional development as something that is less important and less urgent than others and than other things. And I do think that maybe it's less urgent than other things, but I think people equate urgency to importance too much. So they'll go, okay, my personal and professional development is not as urgent as the other items that I need to get done because I've set certain expectations. So they'll demote it to not urgent, but they'll think that it's important but then they never get to it. And I think it's really, really important in terms of building respect for your brand to make sure that you are setting aside time to teach yourself things, learn new things, learn about the industry, learn about the new things that are coming out, making sure that you are setting that time aside so that you can learn more and more and more. And I think that eventually will equate into being a more respectable brand.
I absolutely agree with you. I always said, especially in business, but I still think it a lot. Like I would refer to these people as mental dinosaurs. Like you can't mentally retire and still come to work. Like if you mentally say, I'm done, I've learned it all, I've done it all, then you just start your kind of slow decline. And honestly, I don't even think it's that slow. I think it'll be pretty quick. I think everything we've talked about, we all would say, yeah, of course, those are things that we want. Wow, great insight, Adam. Glad you thought about this all week. Way to really bring the heavy content. But here, this is the part that made me go, wait a minute. There's the aha moment. The dynamics of trust and respect are bidirectional. How I put myself out there is often how I will be treated and not how I will be received. So Tinley is a great example. If hypothetically, and hopefully literally, but hypothetically, people see me as trustworthy and respected, they are going to speak more openly, more transparently. They're going to be open to collaboration. They're going to be open to business opportunities. They're going to say, Adam is not a liability to align with. They'll come on my show. I can then produce a better product on my show. I can engage more viewers and therefore attract more advertising partners. That's where the big stuff, I get chills talking about it. That's where the big stuff starts happening and why it's so important. There's been a few scenarios along the way I probably regret how I handled some of them. Ironically, in an effort to preserve trust and respect, I might have burned a little bit with certain people. There have been a few times where I've thought that people were either over the line on something or incorporating my brand in a way I didn't want it to be incorporated. And instead of explaining and talking through it, I immediately put a stop to it without hesitation. I cut right to the meat, so to speak, or to the bone, or whatever the hell the example would be. But it was because I would never want to be seen as a liability or a wild card or somebody making a comment with my brand or my logo next to that comment in a certain way. And it's exactly for the reason that I was just talking about of how I or Proper Royals is presented is also how I hope people will present themselves to me. And that's where we find these opportunities, because we've all heard the expression, that's a great setup. We've all heard it. Wait a minute. What the hell is it? Something along the lines of, if you want to get somewhere fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, you're going to need other people. You're going to need other relationships.
Yeah, that's it.
But I literally, and this is genuine, I would not be the brand or have the opportunities or have the livelihood that I do without partnerships like Cold Blooded Cafe and Redline specifically. Those folks I've worked with for years on end, and the trust and respect has led to it's two-way opportunities. Yes, I advertise for them, but then I'll get calls of, hey, Adam, I got this thing. You might be good for it. Great. Epic conference. Hey, Adam, we'd like you to work on this. Would you be interested in producing this track? That's the secondary stuff. So like the basic foundational stuff we were talking about, of course you want to be trusted and respected. What we don't realize is the secondary things that come from it, I think. And that is whether it's in the workplace, a leader, an executive that never hears openly from their employees. We all know those types. They're the ivory tower dictator that we don't care for. We're just doing the job for the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Or the person who listens, suddenly we're doing the job because we believe in the cause and we feel that our input is valued and we have sort of our thumbprint is in there and our name is on the product and that kind of deal. So I think it's really important to think about it's going to come both ways. And what you put out there is how people are going to receive and reciprocate towards you.
Are there specific things that you do, like more specific things that you do to make sure, and I can think of one that you do, to make sure that there is, that people know you as somebody who can be reliable, and you're trustworthy. And then, are there certain things that you do to uphold the respectability of the brand? Specific.
Yeah, specific. One of them is, and it's so basic, is the old just show up.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like just do the thing, and ideally you're doing the thing with a little bit of preparation and a little bit of thought. But even when life throws you a curveball and screws you up, still show up and do the thing. I hope I'm always thankful, but a large part of my livelihood now comes from some advertising value. And that would not be present if advertisers were like, sometimes he does a show, sometimes he doesn't, sometimes it's just right. And
yeah.
So even this week when life threw me a little curveball, I think we would all understand that family and parenting needs to come first. So Tuesday night, I couldn't do my show. I scrambled again, trust and respect. Who could I trust and respect to handle hosting the show? I've only ever handed that off to 3 people now in history of my show. They stepped up, said, yes, I will host your show. The show went on. It still was there and done. So it sounds crazy. It sounds too simple, but just showing up and doing the thing repeatedly. I often say too, and it drives people nuts, consistently mediocre is still better than inconsistent. If not you as a person, but if the product or the result is consistently mediocre, at least people understand what they're getting and it's reliable. And then they could choose, do they want to pay more somewhere else? Do they want to pay less somewhere else?
Sure.
I think this sounds real like a backhanded compliment. I think Subway is the greatest example of that. I don't think anybody says Subway is the most amazing thing on the planet. Maybe a few people do, and that's okay. Whether you're in a truck stop in Greer, South Carolina, or you're in a Mall of America in Minneapolis, if you order an Italian BMT, you are going to get the very same product, the same number of slices of salami, pepperoni, and ham. And I know it because that's what I order every time when I go to a Subway. And I could decide if the price is worth it or it's not, but I know what I'm going to get. So,
I would say, so you've mentioned consistency a few times. That's when I think about properroyals or my interaction with you is that no matter what, this Thursday morning is gonna happen, and it's gonna go on, and it's either gonna be me or it's gonna be you if one of us can't make it, or somebody else. It's gonna be here. It's always gonna be here, and that is something like consistency. I think is the thing that is the other thing that kind of cultivates trust in your brand for sure.
Yeah, and there is a value to whatever people perceive of me, which I try and be self-aware, but that's hard. Whatever people perceive of me, I want it to be consistently that. Ideally, I'm improving that all the time, but people buy Lamborghinis, they buy Toyotas, they buy Hyundais. All of those are pretty respected brands at their respective place in the market. If you want a value price vehicle that's reliable, I mean, Hyundai became kind of famous because when they rolled out that, the 100,000 mile, like ironclad warranty, it was a really fantastic thing. I mean, that dates back to my college days. Toyota has provided long-lasting reliability, and then of course there's luxury brands, and luxury brands are interesting to me because they charge an immense amount, but at the end of the day, I think they still have to deliver. I don't think you can charge 6 figures for a vehicle and have it be a piece of junk. That's just not going to work. Like, it doesn't happen that way. So I think that's important as well. Who are you and what can people rely upon from you?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. And then what do you do? Like, we've talked a lot about, building trust. What do you do to build respectability? I mean, there's some things that overlap, but like we were talking about, development, knowledge, those types of things. What do you do to make sure that you are learning more, learning the new, and keeping up with that kind of thing? Like, what's your professional development look like?
It's kind of neat because some of this becomes self-perpetuating. There are times that I feel really burnt out, and I'm like, I don't need to learn anything else. I don't want to learn anything else. But I think back to the people that support me and the commitment that I have to them, and I go, I need to revive this show, or I need to find a new exciting hook each week. I gotta get down with Joe and work on, hey, what topic are we going to do? What are we going to try that's new? So it's exploring new possibilities. It's staying up to date in the marketplace, which I'm not always the best at. Sometimes I put blinders on because I can't just learn everything all the time. Being present at trade level shows, but also at pet level shows. We don't want to live in our own ivory towers where we're just hearing from the industry. I like going to this past week, I've ended at a snake discovery show. It's really a pet show, but I had a great day. It was fine. So staying active in the community.
Even what we did last week, try that new,
right.
Who has questions? I guess that's part of it. Yeah, sure. For sure.
Right. And then also like technical things or truly industry things. I learn a lot from Robert at HusbandryPro because he sees things through the eyes of a software developer is what he is at his root. And he's had a great career in reptiles. So understanding things from a really, really process-driven standpoint, like a machine like HusbandryPro. Whereas Cold-Blooded Cafe, I might go ask Desiree, the owner at Tinley. I might say, hey, this is for better or worse, no matter what anybody thinks. The reality is a lot of their competitors buy frozen rodents from China specifically. Okay, well, there's a lot going on in the world of trade with China these days. How is that going to affect the industry? Is that going to affect Cold-Blooded Cafe? Is domestic production something you can leverage in this conversation? Those are timely things and really industry-driven things. Robin at Redline, he's got a different viewpoint than Robert at HusbandryPro would because he doesn't see things through the lens of a software developer. Robin is a whole lot more of I would say soft skills, but the stuff we're talking about, trust, respect, experience, all of that kind of thing. So those are the ways that like I'm able to almost surround myself with almost like an advisory board, a de facto advisory board that I can learn from.
I want to put this up because I know that you won't. But that personal acknowledgement, I think that is super important let me just ask you this.
Sorry, let me say thanks for that. Of all the expertise that I would want to be known for, a strong thank you is one of the things I'd want to be known for the most.
I've talked a lot about in recent weeks in terms of religion and other movements in our country and stuff in various places about something called a canon, like religious texts or agreed upon canon of the religion, right? So is there like a canon for snake breeding or reptile care? Is there like a place that is an agreed upon way of learning about the industry? Is there an agreed upon group of texts or places or websites where you go, everybody's got to know, if you're going to get into this, everybody's got to know these things?
No. And that's a worthwhile show, and that's a topic worthy of a whole show. There's really not. The closest we have is probably USARK, the United States Association of Reptile Keepers, that we should all support, and I believe we should all be members of. Outside of that, there's definitely schools of thought. There's definitely tribes. There's definitely, go to any comment section on the Facebook page, World of Ball Pythons. It's, I have a challenge with that because I am so skeptical of and leery of gatekeeping. Like,
okay. Yeah.
To assemble that, you almost have to portray an air of perfection, and that's not real. So like,
right.
That takes, in a lot of ways, that's the exciting thing in the industry, is that we're still building that. And there could, to get really analogous to biblical texts, there could be the book of so-and-so next to the book of so-and-so, and then the book of so-and-so, right? And so those things, those are in the developmental stages, not literally. Those are happening, and in 50 years, people will look back and say, so-and-so got it right. We really need to hold them in the high esteem, and so-and-so missed on this. And it doesn't mean that they're jerks, but there's lessons we can learn from it, which we also learn from those sorts of things.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But at the moment,
the more that I look at communities that are long lasting, the more that they are one of their anchors and one of their aspects, or the contributors to longevity, is that there is a canon that sustains itself over time, that people kind of go back to, disagree with, but also agree with, and say, we can learn a lot from this.
Yeah, I think these YouTube shows, I think these podcasts, the Instagram feeds, the Tinley interactions, or the big show interactions, I think that's, like, we don't realize it. I think that's being created right now as we speak, and will continue to be, and has been. But it's also the attractive nature, where you can, in that way, there's a fairly low barrier to entry. You can go buy yourself 2 ball pythons and probably breed them. It's not that hard, is it? No, again, I think there's right ways and wrong ways to do it, but there's not like, I don't know, any profession, what, a auto body shop, opening a restaurant, like there's not you don't have to get a permit. You don't have to go, get inspected. You don't have a USDA person or OSHA coming in. You just do your thing. And that is a really exciting part of it, but also probably to your point, as the outsider, well, that sounds a little scary, guys. What are you thinking? What are you doing here?
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yes. Yeah. So I think it's something that develops over time, definitely. And I think it is, there is a danger for it to supersede the things that are actually taking place on the ground, which is, it becomes kind of like an idol. And really what's going on in the ground, that's the real work of it.
Yeah. And that's another reason why I try not to get caught up in some of that stuff. Like, when I see all these like drama, I call them internet slap fights. When I see all this drama in our industry, in my mind, I chuckle a little bit, because I go, look at all the time everybody's wasting. I'm just going to be over here doing the thing, building my brand. And that goes back to trust and respect. Why are you going to get in a public spat with somebody? Like, you're not going to find me in that mix. That does nothing for the brand. And it goes back to what I was saying of how you put yourself out there is how you're going to be received. if somebody's trying to think of who to work with or who to collaborate with or who to go in on a great project with, and they're always known for their public spats and BS.
Right.
I'm not going. I'll be friends with them. We're going to drink a beer together. We're going to have a great time. I'm probably not putting anything about my brand, or I'm going to think really hard about putting my brand next to theirs or aligning with them or working with them or anything like that, you know? So that's probably a good note to wrap it all up and to put the bow on right there.
Yeah.
I regret we're in overtime. I feel like we're just now, picking up the pace, but
well, we can revisit.
We can revisit.
Yeah. Great conversation. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in and contributing. Always love the chat. And we have more people who listen than the people who are on the chat. So I encourage everybody who's listening at live to use the chat, converse with us. That's one of my favorite parts of doing this.
Joe, I do need to leave with a little recognition for you.
Oh my gosh, no.
I mean, I have a lot riding on this going well. And so I'll show up and that's just kind of what I got to do. But you, man, who the hell would show up every week for now years on end, 7:30 and just do this for kicks with his good buddy, Adam, man, I got to say thank you for it. And when I think about it in that light, I'm like, man, it's great. Thank you so much.
It is, but it's fun. It's fun. Thank you. And thanks for the recognition. I appreciate that, but it is just a fun thing to get my day going on Thursday. So thanks everybody. Have a great week. And we will see you in 7 days.
That's right. We'll be here. Cheers, man.
Yep.